The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 13th day of December 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Roger Denbrook, and I believe Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Raj, you know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
We're back live for first time in almost a week, and when we rebroadcast the shows, it's just funny how people comment as if we're live. And, it's quite fascinating. But we are back live this morning. So if you're commenting, we can put you on screen. How have you been, everyone? How have you been, Raj?
I've been good. Honestly, Jamel, everything that's going on in the world right now, with Palestine and Sudan, it's just been a reminder that the world, there's so much injustice and so much evil in the world, but there's so much beauty and there's so much love, and we have to hold space for both. We can't be acting like everything's great and lull ourselves into a false sense of security. And neither can we despair.
I don't want people to be lost, because people have a tendency, when you only mention things going on outside of Bermuda, like Palestine, oh, well, what about Bermuda? We just had a murder and so on.
It's all connected. It's all connected. We are part of a global community. This idea, like, Jamel, we are one human. First of all, we're all human beings, right? This idea of sovereign, like, separateness just because you're different nations, that's silly. We live in a globalized society.
We don't understand. There are quite a few things that divide us, but nothing like politics, religion, and this sovereign nation thing.
Right?
It's crazy. It's like in the whole flag thing, waving flags and carrying flags, which even help. We've been made to believe that it's something to do with pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is it really? And it's really. I have a lot of words for it, but you know what? We've got a show to do. And Adeline Swan, hello. She says she's been sick, but thankful to be alive. Well, we hope that a few days off from us has helped you recover, Adeline, and we're wishing you a speedy recovery. Feel better very soon. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome day to you, gentlemen, and MP Maya. Premier Maya now. Premier Maya. Yeah, I like the sounds of that. All right, folks. Well, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today. We are going to be discussing, if you see the new title should say, we're going to be confronting some uncomfortable truths in Bermuda. Since the last time we were live, there has been another murder in Bermuda. And it's unfortunate, it's sad, it's heartbreaking. And, we have not, as a community, even eulogized or had a funeral or service memorial for the previous shooting victim. So we're going to discuss that, but we'll also, look, this show exists for all of us. And our title sponsor, the BAC Group of Company, is our title sponsor. But there's things in the news where people are speaking about, 19 people apparently being laid off from the BAC Group. We're going to discuss this as well. And so, folks, stick with us. It's going to be a very, very engaging show today. And I hope that by the end of this show, our community doesn't feel better, doesn't just feel better, but actually understands what we all need to do individually and collectively to be better. So you know what, Raj? Because it's been a while and we're gonna have about to have a heavy conversation. I've got a joke for you.
Okay.
I've got a joke. Audience, it's been a while. Would you like a joke, audience? Would you want a joke, right, Raj?
Of course I want to joke.
Okay, you want a joke. But you have to laugh, like it's gonna be funny. So when it's funny, you have to laugh at it.
Listen, I am ready to hardy hard.
Okay, Raj is ready to laugh. All right, folks, before we get all serious and into a very community-based conversation, here's your joke of the morning. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, she wants her laugh. Traveling Trotty says, sure, give us a joke. Here we go. Here's the joke, folks. Raj, how do snowmen get around?
Ooh, how do snowmen get around? They, what did Frosty do? Frosty, the snowman. Yeah, no, go.
How do snowmen get around? You ready?
Go for it.
They ride an icicle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know, a snowmobile. I like Suzanne. I like Suzanne's answer. I like the snowmobile answer. We did the same thing. My bad. Oh, we did it again. My bad.
No, I do. I like that. That's pretty cool. Snowmobile. We have another sick person. Karen Simmons says, "Good morning to the H. Yes, I've been sick. So a joke, please." So look, it looks like along with TH team, we've had some people in the audience. So let's heal together. Let's have a healing community conversation this morning because you know what? Our community needs healing, folks. Our community needs healing. She's Kathleen Stevenson once she says boring, and Michelle White laughed. Sam Cat Play said her daughter said snowboard. See, that was a nice answer. Shanna Smith says, morning, guys. Happy to catch a live show. All right, let's do this. All right. Rajay, the question of the morning for the first question, because again, we're going to address the layoffs. And I want people to do something. Do us a favor. Don't just like or love this post wherever you're tuned in. Share it with your family and friends now, because what I will say this morning is going to be some very uncomfortable truths. Had a chat with my good brother, the Honorable Mark Bean, the other night. And if you look at the Royal Gazette this morning, you would see he's right at the top of the page. But we have to have these discussions amongst one another for no other reason than to be a part of the solutions. And the first question of this morning is, what's the root cause of the violence in Bermuda and how do we solve it? We love, we've become the United States Republicans. And what I mean by the United States Republicans is whenever a shooting takes place in the United States, these mass shootings in schools and the like, you know what happens? They start saying thoughts and prayers. Our community in Bermuda, when these shootings happen, have become one of two things. I'm sick of this nonsense, people expressing their disgust for a few minutes, or not discussing it at all. We have to face some uncomfortable truths when it comes to the violence in our community. Leading up to the 2017 election, after the 2017 election, the then National Security Minister was the Honorable former Minister Wayne Keynes. And he would often say, we must take a holistic approach to solving the violence in our community. I'm not quite sure I know what that holistic approach is or was. I don't know if you do, but I don't. I don't disagree with him, but I can't say I agree with what I don't know or understand, because right now it's just words. But we must figure out, before we can discuss solutions to problems, we must to address the root cause so that we can address it right there. So, what is the root cause of this violence in Bermuda? And how do we solve it? How do we solve it?
So I think the title of this episode, sorry, the question for this episode could not be more salient. Um, and, or actually, no, it's actually slightly changed. I'm sorry. But this idea of having an uncomfortable conversation. First of all, we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the first thing. We need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We also have to ask ourselves, what cultural habits are we in that are normal, that are leading to these shootings taking place? How is it that we understand Blackness and masculinity, and how it is we engage with intergenerational trauma, as Karen has said in the comments, that is leading to these shootings taking place? These are the real questions, right? A direct and immediate window into understanding this issue is the fact that all of these shootings, every single last shooting that takes place, all of the gun crime in this country is enacted by and is targeted to and is towards Black men. That is a literal sociological, criminological phenomenon. It's Black men. With that point of departure, we are able to immediately hone in on some dynamics. You have race, you have masculinity. So how is it that our young Black men are experiencing this capitalistic society of ours with its very apparent racially biased and traumatic history that's leading to them being the exclusive enactors of gun crime in this country? So then I'll take it a step. So that's a whole question, right? And the next part is this. How is it that we understand Black masculinity that's leading to this happen? What are we saying to our Black men? What are we expecting of them for this to happen? So let's start with masculinity for a second. I wouldn't touch Blackness. Let's start with masculinity for a second. Well, the main way that we are taught as Black men to be men is to be aggressive. That's how we're conditioned. So it's no wonder that we have Black men in the street shooting each other, because we raise our Black men to be violent. Growing up in this country, it was very frustrating. I'm a lover. I'm Mr. Talk It Out. I'm Mr. Empathetic. I'm Mr. Let's Understand. But growing up as a Black male in this country, you know what you're called if you're those things? A faggot, gay, this, that, and the other. So not only is it feminine to be emotionally intelligent and communicative, to be violent is powerful. To be violent is masculine. So it's no wonder that you see this manifesting on a cultural level in gun crime. So then when you add Blackness on top of it, we have centuries of dehumanization telling our Black men and our Black women, oh, Black people, that you're less than human.
Mm-hmm.
For hundreds of years, systemically, economically, politically, our entire society has reflected it. For 217 years, we had enslavement in this country. Sally Bassett was burned at the stake. You had people hung, their remains put on gibbets around this island for animals to pick off of. And we think that slavery in this country was benign? Please.
Mm-hmm.
For another 137 years, we had explicit segregation in this country, Jamel.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a people whose entire experience has been framed in oppression, trauma, and they have been taught that in order to be powerful is to be violent. So you have it in Blackness, you have it in patriarchal masculinity, and then you have a people who are always overcompensating. So what do you think is going to happen when you have a young man who and I'm going to read something. I'm going to stop and read something a bit later on in this discussion. When you have a young man who is not connected to his power at all, everything around him says you ain't nothing, and the only way you can be something is if you're violent and aggressive, what do you think is going to happen?
You know, Raj, when we changed the title to Uncomfortable Truths, I didn't know you were breaking it.
Oh, I didn't come to play, sir.
And you bought it. You know, a friend of mine, I don't, you know what? No, a friend of mine, I'm not going to call her name. She sent me something from a social media person the other day. And it's really so, I can't cuss because you didn't, but it's so freaking annoying because everything you just said is spot on. And many of us, including myself, are guilty of it, right? Guilty of it. Let's be honest. Let's have a
That's
very
right
honest
there. That's
conversation.
right there, Jamel.
Have a very honest conversation. Rod, you were an intern when we first met, and even the expectations I or we may have had of you. You get what I'm saying? It was what we knew at the time, right? And I say that because a friend of mine shared this video the other day from this social media guy, Charleston White. He was like a broken clock, right? Twice a day. And he basically said any man who grooms themselves, goes to the barber every week or puts lotion on or this or that, is feminine and it's pretty much gay, right? And you touched on something because the idea that men are supposed to be violent rather than lovers. Like, think about it. It's been stated that black men are less likely to seek therapy, right? Seen as soft. You still see black men speaking like, oh, man, go to the gym, lift some weights. You don't need no therapy. It's insane. And then you're seeing people who say this, you just watch what happens with them. Watch the kind of behavior they express. So this is it. You know, I don't think we understand. People don't just wake up and become violent. This is a part of a, you know, again, I speak of this often when I went to the African American Museum in DC. How there were no gangs in, let's say, 1970, but by 1975, there were hundreds of them in this little space in LA. Let's go to the audience real quickly. What's the root cause of the violence in Bermuda, and how do we solve it? Because, folks, we can't wait till it hits someone, your doorstep, to start trying to fix this problem. Bermuda's small enough, it's on our doorstep. Karen Simmons says generational trauma that needs to be recognized as unhealthy, acknowledged to be what's that word? Insidious to society, and seeking help to work through it. Yeah. Sam Cat Place is thanking Raj for all of it, for summing up emasculation. And you know, Sean DeShield says dysfunctional parenting of young black males can also be another major contributing factor. I want us to go deeper, though. I want us to go deeper. I want us to, you know, we discuss something on this show all the time. I want us to go deeper than the black parent, than the black person doing the shooting or the black person, the victim of the shooting. This is deeper. I want us to go deeper than this. Because we've been talking about the surface level stuff all this time. Tenari Talbot says black on black crime is programmed and intentionally programmed / promoted. You had Snoop Dogg Crip walking on the Super Bowl a few years ago. You can walk into prominent establishments here locally today and hear them playing music that glorifies the murder of N-words and anti-black agendas. We are the collective root cause. You know, I shared with Raj real quickly regarding Malcolm X the other day. And we'll touch on this later as we speak about the layoffs. But so many of the people we love to quote 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago gave us the blueprint. Yet we still don't understand the importance of being in control of our own destiny.
Jamel, this is the thing. And Critical awareness, right? Nothing in this world happens by mistake.
Mhm.
Nothing. People want to call it conspiracy, but it's not.
Mhm.
I'm not saying anyone's out here orchestrating, but things were orchestrated in the past, ideological warfare, and we're still in that house, man.
Mhm.
We had 217 years of enslavement in this country and 137 years of segregation. We always think about the things that resulted from the racist mindset, right? The idea that races exist, which don't, because this race was made up. There's no scientific genetic basis for race,
Mhm.
right? I could talk about that another time. I can even show. I'll even show a slide in a few minutes. I'll do that in a second.
Please
But
do.
also, I'll bring it up now. Hold on, wait a second. I gave a little presentation last week for Pechacucha.
Mhm.
Let me go on here. These two fellas here literally invented race,
Mhm.
invented it. Linnaeus gave us the taxonomic system for the classification of the animal kingdom that we still use today.
Mhm.
In his Systema Naturae, your boy also gave a system for classifying humans.
Mhm.
That was he made it up. He had Homo Americanus, Homo Asiaticus, Homo Europanus. Of course, Homo Europanus, the Europeans, they were um, displayed in this wonderful blue-eyed, blah, blah, blah. And then Homo Afer, black people, black, phlegmatic, cunning, lazy, lustful, careless. And
Mhm.
the only reason why they did this was to justify the economic exploitation of a people. That was it. That was the entire reason. That
Mhm.
was it. It was just so that they can kill them, rape them, and use them to make money for hundreds of years. And Jamel, this is the basis of Western society.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to go back to something that Michael Daniel said. It's very salient in a very wise way. He says, since the beginning of time,
Mhm.
not the beginning of time, it's 400 bloody years ago. Wait, it was 600 years ago
Mhm.
when the Portuguese went over to the so-called New World and
Mhm.
started this ideological war, found that gold in modern day Bahamas.
Mhm.
Yep, started to dehumanize the Arawaks, send the Caribs and everyone down there.
Mhm.
The first African slaves were brought over in 1508, I think. I'm pretty sure I got that right. And ever since then, so we have this idea, it's been since the beginning of time. No, it has not. The beginning of time, we have to think about pre-colonial Africa. Masculinity in pre-colonial Africa, it wasn't this. It wasn't a right to be violent. It wasn't a right to dominate. If you did those things as a man in pre-colonial Africa, you were held accountable by your community.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Where you couldn't do that.
Mhm.
In pre-colonial Africa, being a man, it meant leading with your heart. It meant bringing people together. It meant being protective.
Mhm.
It meant being connected to your emotional self. It meant respecting the environment, respecting the earth. That's what it meant to be a man. So if we want to continue to say that masculinity is inherently violent and is about domination and being violent, all you are doing is playing into the ideological tactics that were used to dehumanize us hundreds of years ago. So the ultimate solution to this, Jamel, is to participate, an audience, everyone, sorry, is to participate, actively participate in a process of decolonization. That is, in this context specifically, that is actively existing beyond the ideological foundations of the Western world. It's allowing us to evolve as a society. That's the work. That's the work right there. And in order to do that, we all have to look in the mirror and go, how am I a part of the problem? You've actually brought up a point when you were talking about, back, I want to share a story really quick. Back at the station, I remember I was in university. You remember this, I was in uni. Oh, you're muted.
Hold that thought. Let's take a quick commercial break. Come back to news break. We'll continue the convo, but we have to. We're a bit behind. Got to take a break, folks. Do not go anywhere. But we're having these uncomfortable. And remember, I told you earlier, we're going to go beyond the surface. Enough of this talk about the government. Enough of this talk about parenting and school. We have to go beyond. And we cannot, I'm glad how Raj addressed Mr. Daniels just now as well, and regarding his statement about since the beginning of time. It's not beginning of time. We continue to think that, oh, life began with Black people enslaved. We've got to think differently, and I'm glad Raj is bringing the sermon. But let's take this break, Raj, and we'll come back. I'll do a quick news break. Then we'll, finish this convo out. Then we'll address the layoffs. Stick with us.
In over 30 years, Mailboxes has brought in millions of packages. That's a lot of packages. We started way back in 1990.
Ship a boombox. Well, okay, sure, we can do that. Check you later.
All right. Thanks again to the BAC Group Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you. We're going to do a quick news break, come back right back to the conversation. All right, here is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. So you might have, I mentioned it earlier that you may have seen an article on the front page of the Royal Gazette with the Honorable Mark Bean. Here's a piece of what he told me he was submitting to the Royal Gazette. Hear this out. The Honorable Mark Bean said the recent throne speech in which the government indicated their desire to pursue full membership status in CARICOM is just one example of creating negativity, strife, and confusion. Many can be given if they think that this was intended. This was the intended purpose of the announcement. Many can be forgiven if they think that this was the intended purpose of the announcement. It would not be the first time that the Burke government has deployed such tactics, in particular for the purpose of distracting the public's mind from the pressing issues of the day. I can think of one issue that has impacted a large majority of the traditional PLP voting base, which involves the premier, his former senator, his taxi, and the death of a young father and son who represented and exemplified the very best of our community. May the truth be revealed, justice served, and our memories never grow dim of a great light extinguished, and the depths at which narcissism, psychopathy, I'm trying to make this bigger, permeate our current leadership. I write with an intimate working knowledge of their modus operandi. Any comments on that, Raj?
I that word narcissism, it's a very salient word, and it means something very specific. So I actually encourage people to go away, spend some time learning about what the narcissistic complex is. And it's a very useful lens for the Bermudian political dynamic, but also Bermudian culture. So a lot of people think that word it's become like a buzzword. It's not. It's a very specific complex, and I do encourage people to go away and learn more about narcissism.
But anything regarding Mark Bean's comments directly about this being a distraction, the CARICOM being a distraction from, because to be honest, I didn't even consider that, but his words about it being a distraction from something that had the premier and government in such a bad light.
I think there are a number of things that have the government in not a very positive light right now. For myself, my biggest policy gripe is education reform, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. And we know that I've said it before, this government is very, very good at playing politics, but we do not need politics right now. We need leadership. I mean, joining CARICOM, I think, is not an inherently bad idea. We are part of that community. We need to strengthen our ties with that community. But there are things that we need to sort out here, and I'm not sure joining CARICOM right now is a priority.
I'll say this much. I think the premier is calculated. He's not a dumb guy. And I truly do believe that he quite possibly, I mean, I hear your issue about education, but there's something sinister that people feel. Not saying education's not, but something sinister about the situation Mark being mentioned, which I think there could be some truth to it. And I hope it's not right, but that would be said. All right, in the weather, folks, it's looking like you've got a high of 71 today. Skies remain cloudy to overcast as a stationary front stalls over the area. Periods of rain and occasional showers will move through the region, keeping conditions quite dull and damp into Thursday. Blustery showers arrive Thursday as high pressure building from the west begins to push the front out of the area. Raj, you got some days of the year for us?
I do. Hey, yeah, of course I have days of the year, Jamel, because I do my job so well and I remember everything, So today is, it's December it's December the 13th today. And it's the day of the thing. Today is national, it's cocoa day. It's chocolate day.
Oh.
It's hot chocolate day, everybody. Go have yourself and I love making hot chocolate. I need 90% dark chocolate. And I melt it up in my chocolate, put my heavy cream in it, put my whipped cream on there. Go make yourself a hot chocolate, everybody.
Oh, okay. It's hot chocolate day, audience. Yes or no? Do you like hot chocolate? Let us know. You like hot chocolate, Raj?
I need 90% dark chocolate.
And you do, like, you put marshmallows in it and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't had hot chocolate probably since a child. So
What?
I'm a tea guy myself.
What? All right, can you do dairy?
I choose not to. But
okay.
Yeah. Sandra, right. She loves some hot chocolate. We got Suzanne loves it. Yeah, all right. So Sandra,
the Daily Hour should have a hot chocolate pop-up in Hamilton.
Well, I'm gonna put it on Sanchez. Just gotta have me some hot chocolate when
All right.
Let's do that. All right, folks, we're gonna take a quick break. Come back. You know what? We're gonna actually change the discussion. I know that was a hot one earlier, but we're gonna change the discussion due to time, and we're gonna get into the layoffs. We're going to have a very honest conversation. But do us a favor before that, because Bermudians need this wake-up call. Share this link with your friends and family. Chances are, if they don't already, they'll hate me after this. But I'm okay, as long as we start to live better. That's what's important to me.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHP staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Let's kick it off in the footwear department. When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic, and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talks, and DeWalt. The list goes on. Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear. You can't go wrong. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time? Speaking of stylish, we also have top-quality running, walking, and workout apparel by Skechers in a variety of sizes for men and women. Cool, breathable, and dry. With our wide selection of Skechers footwear, you look great before, during, and after your workout. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
You'll be surprised at everything we have to offer at our huge new retail and wholesale location on Bakery Lane.
You know, during the break, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy. And audience, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a like, a love, and share this because it's about to get interesting. But I just want to say I went on the Royal Gazette and I saw that they shared the op-ed by the Honorable Mark Bean, and I would encourage everyone to read it today. And the first comment that basically I saw, well, only comment on the story so far is finally a balanced take on CARICOM. I'm going to tell you this, right? Love him, like him, hate him, whatever. Mark Bean is a person who you didn't appreciate him when he spoke because he gave you uncomfortable truths. And when he left and you got what you got, you started to appreciate a bit more what he said. That's life. It's how it works, right? But we tend to love people more when they're gone, whether they're dead, whether they're no longer in that position. We have a tendency to do that unless they were just really horribly bad. But I guarantee you, if he would have been a premier of either party or any party and wrote this same thing, it wouldn't be seen as balanced. Why do I mention all of this? I say this all the time. I don't wake up, turn on this camera and mic and say, who can I annoy today and how many people can I annoy? I literally wake up and ask myself, what can we discuss that's going to help people solve some of the problems or issues that they're facing? And with that, if you've been living under a rock, well, there was a story, and the headline says BAC lays off 19 staff, which is very interesting because just recently, the Minister of Economy and Labor, I think that's his title, said on Friday that Bermuda's economic recovery plan, the employment-related actions, the success, especially that experienced by Bermuda's young people, has been impressive. He's basically touted in saying that almost 2/3 of 30 initiatives are actively engaged in the desired level of economic activity. Many of the initiatives will remain ongoing, while some, like the COVID relief program, will fall away. But Mr. Hayward is acting like everything's great. Everything's back. You know, Bermuda's economy is booming. And then just like that, 19. And let's be clear here, because Roger may feel very differently from me on this. I think it's important for us. We're talking about Mark Bean. This company that the Daily Hour falls under was launched with an interview between myself and Mark Bean, a conversation we had. And Mark Bean, actually, I'm not saying he's God or Nostradamus. He was just a regular man like us, probably way more intelligent than me, like Raj, but anyway. But he said some things then that are literally playing out right now.
This is what I want to say about Mr. Bean. I might not have agreed with a lot of what he said, but trust me when I tell you, I trusted him. You could trust that everything that came out of that man's mouth, he meant it. It was truthful. He was transparent. He was authentic. He might have been a bit uncouth. He might have been a bit off base. But guess what? You could trust there wasn't an ounce of manipulation in that man. What you saw is what you got. Now we have the exact opposite, Jamel. It's all
And I don't want to get off track, but you're right. And it leads me to, he spoke about this, but it was something he said. And I just wrote to someone who commented on Trevor's story. Because I see people on TNN writing things like, oh, letting people go right before Christmas. Okay, I may agree. But is there ever a right time if we're living within our means? See people, some people who are HR experts saying, never let people go on a Friday or before the holidays. But really what gets me about this, Rajay, I've spoken about this for years as someone who's been made redundant. And I want people to understand the difference between laid off and redundancy. Now, I don't know the facts. I'm not going to take from a news article. We have reached out to our partners at BAC for actual clarification because there's been some accusations made in the public that I don't want to repeat, especially if they're not true. But the BAC did say via the Royal Gazette, BAC Group can confirm that the prolonged stagnation in Bermuda's economy has led to staff layoffs at the group. The decision to lay people off was difficult, and we extend our deep gratitude to those affected for their contributions. We will remain focused on navigating these challenges while continuing to diligently serve our customers. Let me be clear here. Again, Raj, let me just say this before you go, because again, you may feel very differently. There's a couple things that bother me about this. Number one, why do we always look at the business as if the business owes us a job? If a company which exists, whether we like it or not, to generate revenue and in turn make a profit, isn't doing so or doing so to their liking, then they're going to make cuts. What I think we are very short-sighted in is not understanding that we have a $4 billion debt and growing that's actually contributing to this. Private companies are not your irresponsible government who can just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and throwing money at things, hoping for the best. That's not how private companies work. But there's something else, because I'm not here to defend anyone. I have a conscience. Let me be very clear. In most spaces, people wouldn't even have these conversations, especially if it involves one of their sponsors. But this is not who we are. So let me say this to everyone. I'm not going to repeat what I saw on, again, it didn't come from BAC. But I've said this before, and I will continue to say it over and over and over. If you have a job today, you should be prepared to be let go today. Let me repeat that. If you have a job today, you should be prepared to be let go. One more time for you. If you are employed by someone today, you should be prepared to be let go today. And if you are let go today, you should have the skills to go out. And what does Mark Bean say that Marcus Garvey used to say all the time? Do for self. Malcolm X told us this. Marcus Garvey told us this. If you can help other people make money, other businesses exist, you have got to believe that you can do it. So one more thing before Rajay jumps in. I find it funny that people want to march and boycott businesses when people lose jobs. But these same people don't march into Black businesses and support them. Folks, I understand we're hypocrites, but the best way to support people who lose jobs, help them start their own company and support them that way. Raj?
What else can I say, Mr. Hartman?
Okay.
No, Jamel, like I everything that I was gonna, you said it. I mean, we live in a capitalistic society. These are private companies. It's literally impossible for them to operate without capital. If they can't pay their employees, they have to let them go. It's not them being unethical or anything. It's a literal, practical thing. Now I'm going to share. So back in August, I lost my job out of nowhere due to this third sector organization being horribly mismanaged. I'm not going to go into that right now. And I'm happy to, and this idea that, and so when it happened, I said to myself, this is now the third time this has happened to me. I have to go on financial assistance again with 2 children. I'm going to be in poverty for a second again with 2 children, which I was, and it sucked, right? And I said to myself, I'm not letting this happen again. I need to work for myself. So that was the next point that you made, do for self. You have to. Me, I do not want to work for anybody else anymore. At some point, Rajay Denbrook is going to have a thriving enterprise, and I'm going to be working for myself, right?
You have one, Raj.
I do have one because I am Rajay Denbrook.
Yeah, thank you. And don't sell you have one. You have a thriving entity. It's just not where you want it to be right now because you're taking the first steps.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. And I'm happy to say now, Jamel, as soon as I lost my job, I had to, that's hard. You got 2 kids. I don't come from a family with money, I know I give the impression that I do, and I'm very happy that I do, you know what I mean? But I don't. My family doesn't have property. I can't be like, oh, can I come move back in if they go? No. It's either I go on financial assistance or I'm out on the street with my children, or I have to go to emergency housing down Gulfstream. Jamel, there have been days, sir. I'm not going to start crying. That'd be stupid. There have been days, Jamel, where I have eaten the scraps off my children's plates, right? I have had to go Family Center, Lady Cupid Society, Coalition, get my Pampers, get my grocery cards, right? People don't think Rajay Denbrook's been through this stuff with 2 children by myself, right? So I know how this feels. Do for self could not be the most important thing. The only time layoffs or redundancies are an issue is when you have a company making profit. And you see that, right? You do see that. We'll look at Butterfield Bank for a second. They're making millions and then they're laying people off. It's like that doesn't. BAC is comparatively speaking to something like Butterfield, that's a multinational bloody financial service, the bank. They're comparatively a small business. So yeah, they have to do what they have to do, and it sucks. Now, the other thing that we have to talk about, I'm really sorry because I got off track, is a social safety net. So whose responsibility is it to make sure that people can have their basic needs met in those kinds of situations? The government. That's the kind of society that I want to live in. I need a society that has a very strong, rich social safety net, right? Some people will reduce that and call it a welfare program. That's not what it is, right? You want to make sure that, I'm pretty sure that everybody wants us to live in a society where one of our core values is people's basic needs are met. Housing, being able to eat, having lights on, right? So you're going to put money in place like financial assistance and services in place like financial assistance to make sure that people can have their basic needs met. So I do think it is incumbent upon the government and upon the people to make sure that people are able to meet their basic needs.
Raj, and this is a question. I'm not attacking the government or any of the unions. I know in the US, they have something called unemployment where people get paid. And audience, you can feel free to answer the question, what concerns you most about the BAC layoffs? But I guess my question is, right now, in speaking about some of the solutions and what you just mentioned as well, the safety net, do the unions or the government provide that safety net currently? Is the union, again, a lot of people in some of the union jobs have the skill set to go and do for self. Are the unions promoting this, or do they not, because it would impact their membership going down? So they would rather keep them employed rather than them going out on their own. Like, for me, that's a part of evolving, right? And evolving from a space where we're trying to keep people in jobs where we can actually empower people to go and do for self. So these are the kind of things that we should be discussing. At the end of the day, yes, there are going to be times where companies are making millions and billions, and they're like, well, we have to lay off because, although we're making 1 billion, our goal was 1.5. There's going to be those times. But there are certain areas, if people are not building, if the cost of construction is going up from 500 for materials to 1,200, and people are pulling back, then it impacts so many different facets and businesses. And it's that trickle down. But what concerns you, audience, most about these BAC layoffs? What concerns you most? Let's go to the audience. Suzanne Ingham said, preach it, Rajay. We've got Robert Nasser saying maybe BAC made bad business decisions and caused them to lay off employees. It's possible. Indeed. Absolutely.
We have to be careful not to speculate, though.
No, but
it's true. It is what come 100% a possibility.
We don't know what happened. All we know is what's reported. Anything could have happened. But what is true is that private businesses do this. Let me be clear in this. If I work for someone and I go to work today and they say that your services are no longer needed, I'd be angry. I'd be hurt. You bet your boots. I've given my time to this company. But I'm also conscious enough to understand. And I want to speak to civil servants and government workers in particular, because there's this tendency to believe that these are safe jobs and they can't be taken away. The day will come for all of us. And I just want hope that conversations like what we have today prepare you for them. Raj, what's the difference between layoffs and redundancy? Because a lot of people seem to not know that.
So with the layoff, look at the Employment Act 2000, you're going to be looking at Section 32, subsection 3, right? So if everyone's like sort of intimidated by the law, remember, it's just words on a page. It's a bunch of rules with just overcomplicated language, right? And laws are accessible online. Go find it and inform yourself, right? So go find the Employment Act 2000, look at Section 32, subsection 3, right? It says, where the layoff continues for a period which exceeds 4 months, it shall be deemed to be a termination for redundancy pursuant to Section 30. So if a company is experiencing layoff conditions, right, if they can't operate, they're able to lay off their employees for no more than 4 months. If redundancy conditions exceed 4 months, then you're going to be made redundant after 4 months. So you can be laid off for a maximum of 4 months. But if your company isn't in a position to hire you back, after that, it'll be a termination for the purposes of redundancy.
Okay. So I remember back in the day, hotels, that's how a lot of the hotels survived in Bermuda. They would lay off people, for a few months and they would bring them back, right? And again, the late Walton Brown, he said, that's how my parents were able to build up their home. And, he spoke about that being a thing where they got to rest. And then when it got busy, they went to work. Not sure if our economy is that friendly today. So it'll be interesting. What I would say, if it's just a layoff and there's a chance you can go back, Raj, if you're a technician and you have the skills, go and help, put yourself out there and do some side jobs. Look, folks, I'm not making light of this, right? When I was made redundant, we created this company. 5 years later, we're still going because of all of you, because of your support, because of People's Pharmacy and Lindo's and Skyport and Marketplace and NMAC, Medical House and BAC Group. Because of all of you, a Black-owned company started with no bank, our own capital still exists. And if we can be an example to others to use the skills, all we're doing is using the skills that we were given to others. Use us as an example, please. But yes, I was angry. There's going to be that period. I'm probably still angry at some things because of how things were done. But let that anger be the burning desire, that fire underneath your butt that takes you to the level that you can be. Because I am a believer that every last one of us can and has the ability to do for self.
Got that mesh right. Can I share something very quickly?
Yes, you sure can, Mr. Denbrough.
So back in August, like I said, lost my job out of nowhere. Third time it's happened to me. Obviously, the first time it happened to me, I was knocked. I was knocked for one, right? Second time it happened, knocked again. This time it happened, knocked for a second, and I went, we ain't stressing about this. We're just gonna take a deep breath and sort it out. Once I did that, Jamal, I sat down. I said, Rajay, what skills do you have? What you have to offer? Man, I filled up that page. I had a page of things. I'm like, Rajay, people will pay you money to do this, but but it's not that. People want your value.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you can write nice things. It's the voice that you bring to it, the energy that you bring to it. Yes, you can write, you can sing, you can do all this stuff, but it's the Rajay that you bring to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I was like, well, who? And it's like the universe heard me, and somebody called me and said, can you do this for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Rajay, you're a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
After I did that, I packaged myself a little bit. I've been getting contracts.
There you go.
So now I have a little consultancy business.
And guess what? You, therefore, are an entrepreneur, sir. And I think you just got two examples, audience. We're not perfect. Neither of us are perfect. We're far from it. You just heard his shortcomings mine. Like we are not perfect individuals. But, Mark Bean said this some years ago. He said, I love you. I love you. Rajay said his I love her early on. We legit love you. That's why we're telling you what we're saying this morning. We're not making excuses for anyone at all. But because I want to touch on this, because I don't want this to be missed. This is a capitalistic society. And unless you're willing to fight and change that, folks, I say this from the bottom of my heart. I love you. And I don't want to see you kicking rocks because you lost a job. What I want you to do is be prepared if that should happen. Monica Dunstan says, it would be interesting to know what level the layoffs came from. Was it middle management, higher up technicians in the field? They bought out some smaller companies a few years ago, though. Sean DeShield says, having a plan B when getting laid off is always wise and proactive approach. Rosalind Famous says, empowering conversations today. Thank you all for your contribution. We're going to take a final break. We're going to do a giveaway. We're getting close to the holiday. We're going to do a hashtag giveaway when we come back. And folks, we'll wrap it up. Roger can give you some daily inspiration brought to you by ER Fisheries. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us. We'll be back after this short message.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
All right, welcome back to the Big Show. Folks, if you've appreciated the conversation this morning, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. And folks, again, if you believe, like Rosalind Famous type, that this was a powerful and empowering conversation, please make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We want to make sure that we're helping. We're not just talking. I use me and my failures as an example of how we can collectively do better. And folks, the best way to support is not to boycott the rest of your fellow Bermudians who work at these places, but it's to go out and support the new businesses and opportunities that these folks who were laid off may have. So if you know a technician who was laid off and you need some work done around the house, hire them. That's how we support people. Let's do the it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Get Bermuda Trivia so you can have some great family discussions and arguments over the holiday period. All right, Raj, it is time for today's Daily Play. Here we go. Raj, what zodiac sign are you if you were born on Christmas Day?
Sagittarius.
What was that?
Sagittarius. Capricorn.
Yeah, Capricorn. I don't know nothing about zodiac signs. I was told I'm a virgin. I mean, Virgo.
You're a typical male Virgo too. Sorry, and I can say that because I'm a typical male Virgo.
Yeah, Rosalind Famous was helping you out if you needed help, folks. Folks, the hashtag for today's giveaway is hashtag the Daily Hour. So hashtag the Daily Hour for today's giveaway. If you'd like, we're going to give another $25 voucher out today. And you know what? We'll give a voucher out to BAC. So you can just share it. If you'd like, you can put your hashtag in the comments. Let's wrap it up though, Raj. Final comments on today's conversation. Obviously, we went deeper beyond the surface in talking about the violence in our community. And then we spoke about the layoffs. What are your final thoughts on each?
We have to go about being Bermudian in fundamentally new ways, right? And I've said this before on the show. Now, what that means in terms of the Black male experience, we need to fundamentally frame how we engage with our Black men and understand Black masculinity and follow through with that new understanding. We are in some cultural habits that we have to get out of, and we have to look in them and things that we consider normal and okay, things that we have to challenge, and people are going to get pissed off about it as well. But we have to love your Black men, love them, start with love. Allow your Black men to live with their whole hearts, their whole minds, their whole bodies. Stop putting them in a box, because we are as a people. Do we want them to continue murdering each other in the streets? Do we want to see them still like self-medicating with drugs and alcohol? Because that's what we're getting. Do we want them to think the only way they matter is if they get a job in international business? We need to do better. When is enough, Jamel? We need to do better. We know better. Now, in terms of the BAC conversation, the biggest thing I want to say, social safety net. So let's not, yes, private companies, et cetera, but also who do we want to be as a people? If a private company literally cannot sustain its employees, do we want to live in a country where people can still have their basic needs met?
Yeah. I just want to say this on the back of what you said regarding the violence in Bermuda. And I say this with the most direct and serious face. We need to be comfortable loving one another as Black men. We need to be comfortable hugging each other and telling each other, hey, Raj, I love you, bro. Have a great day.
I love you too.
Okay, it's just saying that because we're on there.
But I'll jump through this laptop so quick.
But we have to. We have to get comfortable with loving one another. And I believe it'll go a long way. Because if we can be so comfortable wanting to harm one another, if we can be so comfortable disliking and hating one another, we can be just as comfortable loving one another.
Hit it.
What I was supposed to hit?
The heroin. Hit it.
Raj is crazy.
That was, you just gave a word, son.
As far as the layoffs, I want us to really just consider all that's been said. And I want people to really not think about what's been said. You know, I always say, we're not here to change people's minds. We're here to make you think differently. But today I feel different. I want people to start thinking differently. And I want everyone who has a job, regardless of your position, rank, title, to start preparing for that day. Even if it never comes, there's nothing wrong with being prepared. Your job, like life, isn't promised. You know, they say in the church, you never know when that day may come, so get saved today. Well, I say, as far as a job, you never know when that day would come, so start saving yourself today. Folks, we've got a giveaway. Mark C. Phillips says, Jamel and Rajay, I tell my family members and friends I love them because life is so precious. All right, let's do this giveaway, Raj. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Who's it going to be, Raj? Who's it going to be? Let's play the drum roll. We're giving away a BAC gift card. Here we go. Who?
Manuela. That's my guess.
I
was wrong.
All right. You know what? Karen Simmons, you're going to get yours, but we're going to give someone else a chance to win as well. Karen Simmons, please send another email. We'll make sure you get yours, but send it right away today so we can get, as the holidays approach, you guys busy. We're going to do it again because Karen Simmons won last week. Let's see if we can get another winner. Pamela Wade, not a Pamela. Please do send an email immediately to engage@thedailyhour.com. Again, please send that email immediately. Let's do something, Raj. Let's share the daily inspiration before we let everyone go to enjoy their day.
Alrighty, so you saw me on my phone a second ago when we came back from break because I was going through the post of the previous daily inspirations because I don't want to repeat myself.
Good work, Raj.
But I feel like but I couldn't find it. I'm going to repeat myself. But I'm actually going to share two very, very quickly. There are two things that people crave: the full realization of their innate gifts and to have these gifts approved, acknowledged, and confirmed. The second is a crisis of identity and purpose is an inner burning that is really extinguished by a visit to a career planning office, by graduation from a prestigious school, or even by years in a successful career. It is a hollowness, a void that threatens to erase meaning in everything people do. You know what? That wasn't inspirational. That was actually just a really salient point. So I take back the second one. Just stick with the first one, but remember the second one. I apologize.
We appreciate that and think on that, folks. Thanks again to E.R. Fishers ensuring that we have that daily inspiration. But folks, it is that time. So please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Health, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Reg J. Denbrook. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. VR is out. Peace.